Nancy Cortez, thank you. For more now on the renewed healthcare push, we have CBS News political director Steve Chaggaris on set with us. Steve, remind us again, why is there this big push for September 30th to get this done so quickly? So
Senate Republicans are facing a deadline on September 30th, which there's a procedural rule that allows them to pass this bill with only 51 votes. If they wait until after the 30th, it would take 60 votes, which clearly they don't have 60. They might not even have 51. So they're trying to get this done before that rule expires.
So you're talking about trying to get repeal and replace through. It's been a 7-year effort. Walk us through this, game this for us. What are the pros here for getting this through, and what are the negatives that are likely to trip this up?
So, well, first of all, it's just like the last effort that they had, which is there are a few Republicans in the Senate who are not fans of the ideas that have been put forth in terms of repealing and replacing. And so they don't know where they are in terms of a whip count right now in the Senate. They don't have 50 votes. And it's almost the same people that are having questions about this that had questions about the last one. Senator John McCain, you remember infamously to some, had the thumbs down on that vote the last time around. He is undecided right now. Lisa Murkowski in Alaska. Susan Collins in Maine is leaning no. And so you start losing 2, 3, 4, and 5 Republican senators, and you can't get this thing passed. So the pros are that there is an impetus to try to get something done before this deadline, at least among leadership. The cons are all the Republicans aren't on board, and so trying to get those votes in the next 10 days, that's going to be hard for them to do.
And it's just not Senate Republicans. You've got Republican governors coming forward saying they're against this major cut to Medicaid expansion, the money that they took under Obamacare.
Right, and it's the same issue. This is a different bill, but that issue is the same issue that they dealt with the last time. And governors, Republican governors, Democratic governors, but governors of both parties did not like the idea of Congress taking away the Medicaid expansion. And so that is in this bill. So it's going to be the same complaints and the same protests from the same people, really. And so again, it's going to be interesting to see how the people, the Republicans in the Senate who voted against this the last time, where they come down on this, because the Medicaid expansion thing is in there.
Is there any thinking that the fact that there's such a tight deadline could possibly work in the favor of Republicans?
I think that's what Republican leaders are hoping is going to happen. But again, at the end of the day, it's what this handful of Senate Republican moderates, whatever you want to call them, whatever they wind up deciding, is going to do this. And so, is this bill that much different than the last one that's going to persuade a few of them to vote yes for this when they voted no the last time? It's hard to say. You don't hear people like John McCain professing a lot of positive sentiments about this bill compared to the last, even though his best friend, Lindsey Graham, is one of the sponsors of this. So we'll have to see where they come down on this. It's just going to be something to watch over the next 10 days and how much arm twisting is done by Senate Republican leaders.
Sure has made a fascinating session of Congress.
No question. No question.
You never know what to expect, Steve, down to the wire, down to the last vote. I want to turn, though, to the United Nations. We know the Iranian president addressed the UN today. President Trump hasn't said where he weighs in on the Iran nuclear deal. Any sense of where the White House is headed, and what happens if they do pull out of this deal that the Obama administration brokered?
So I never want to make predictions when it comes to this president, but let's just take what he said yesterday at the UN, and I'm going to quote. He said that the deal is one of the worst and most one-sided transactions the United States has ever entered into, and it's an embarrassment to the U.S. So I think that's probably the direction he's going. Not a big fan of this thing. He's been railing against it during the campaign, since the campaign, during his presidency. You just got to figure that's the track they're going on. But again, we don't know. He says he's going to keep us in suspense, and he'll eventually tell us. But it seems that's his mindset on this. He's not a fan of this, and it looks like we're rolling down the road toward getting out of that deal.
One thing that's been fascinating with this administration is the checks and balances that have been in place, even though the president has taken certain actions. If he does pull out of the Iran deal, is there anything that Congress can do to push back?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. They probably can if they want, but it seems that there are a lot of Republicans who don't like this deal either, and this is a Republican-led Congress. So you would think that there's not going to be too much resistance from a Republican Congress on this decision from the president. The question ultimately is, where do people come down on this? Do they think it's going to be destabilizing to the region, like the French president told President Trump yesterday, or are they of the same mindset as Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, who says you got to get out of this thing? It's a terrible deal. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Steve Chaggaris, so great to have you on set here in New York.
Thanks. Great to be with you, Rena.
Thanks for joining us.